So in here we've got 2 new watches sent over by Merkur Watches on AliExpress. And I couldn't help but think that these looked like the Chinese answer to the Rolex Datejust or something. Both have that really wearable gather design, so I was really keen to take a look at them. The link's below if you want to check them out, and you know, they're both dirt cheap like many other Merkur watches. At the time of recording this, both of these are under £80 each. That's without any discount codes, which I've got some discount codes, I believe, which will be in the description, so it'll be even less, probably closer to like 60 quid or something. And look at this. My cat has been clawing this at some point in the night. But I guess the plastic sheathing did its job because the box underneath seems unaffected. Now, this isn't a one-to-one copy of the Rolex Datejust or the Oyster Perpetual or anything, which is why I've titled the video something like their answer to the Rolex Datejust. Does seem to be slightly different from the photos, but yeah, let's just see if they've come up with something decent. Definitely one of my favourite watch brands at the moment, Merkur, because you never quite know what they're going to come out with next. Always has at least some originality to it, their designs. And yeah, these are really nicely chosen colours more than anything else. Now, we have had some previous very wacky watches from Merkur. I mean, some of them are very impressive, but they're not all that wearable. So I wanted to try out something that was, you know, a bit more wearable, like the opposite of that. I think we definitely have that with these. Let's just get the rest of the plastic off. Now, the code name for these, well, it's basically non-existent, as is the case with many of these Merkur watches. If they've given me some weird name for it, I'll pop it up on the screen, because they do tend to have some funny old names. But yeah, on AliExpress, this might be pretty hard to find. It is linked below if you want to use my link at least. But you really can't see what I mean here with these. And it's got all the hallmarks of your typical high-value, low-cost Merkur watches. You got that stainless steel case, a raised mineral crystal, cracking sunburst finish on both of these. No attempt at weird westernized branding either. They've just gone the whole hog with what I believe are Chinese symbols there. And these each look really cool. Now, the markers are nothing complex, but what is a tad more complex is the mechanical movement inside both of these. These are almost certainly Merkur's custom-made Chinese standard movements, so while it's not the most high-end movement by any stretch, Merkur does make the majority of their movements in-house, which is nice. And they're definitely some of the best Tongji movements I've seen. Certainly have a better fit and finish than those used by some other brands. And they're also quieter too, which never hurts. But wow, both of these look great. And I got one of each because I wanted to test the straps out. But I've actually seen this strap before on one of the other watches I unboxed a few weeks ago. And for the money, they're actually pretty good straps, I've got to say. Has like a Saffiano texture on the surface here, so it does tend to feel a little bit rubbery on the outside, but it has got edge painting, surprisingly, and yeah, it's even fully backed too with quick release, so you can't expect much more for the price. Do have quite peculiar buckles though, these, and not the best buckle alignment there, but overall very usable strap, and same with the bracelet too. This is kind of common fare with Merkur watches at this point. If my camera will focus, there you go, beads of rice bracelets. Albeit, I have noticed on this one, the links are quite a bit bigger than on some of their other watches. And that is a little problematic when you've got no micro adjustments here. Compared to the dive style watch on my last video, these links are much bigger, so you can only make adjustments of, you know, close to a centimetre there, which isn't ideal. And it's a shame because the actual quality of the bracelet is very, very good for the money. All solid links, even solid end links in the back there too. But I think these dials are really where the party is at. Everything looks surprisingly clean again on this watch. I've noticed that the right hand side of the marker of the 12 is just a hair below the other one. Very, very minor though, especially when you're talking about a watch at this price. This one's got like an aubergine colour, I think you'd probably call it. Like a grape tone almost. Looks really, really nice. It does come in a bunch of other colours as well, this one, which isn't actually the norm for Merkur. They tend to just make their watches in 1 or 2 colours at most. Got a pretty versatile, albeit simple design here. And then you've got this blue, and it's a slightly different tone of blue from the most popular light blue watches that we see in recent times. This one's almost a silver blue. My camera can't quite handle it, but I definitely prefer this colour to the Tiffany blue you see a lot used these days. I think Tiffany just looks quite a bit tacky. It's just been a bit overdone in my opinion. I think this maybe looks teeny bit better. Not a clue how these are going to look on wrist really, but yeah, let's measure them up anyway. I am anticipating it's the same sort of 38mm case that we see a lot on these Mercure watches. What have we got here? Yeah, just a hair under 38mm. It's usually 45-ish on lug to lug. Yeah, 45.3 in this case. And then with the huge crystal, 12.4. If you're discounting it, where's more like a 8.5. And yeah, that is a mineral crystal there. You know, sapphire shape like this would cost probably as much as this entire watch. These steep sides are quite hard to create, but yeah, definitely has a unique look on that front. And the lug width, if you did want to change out the strap or bracelet on any of these, is 20mm. Now here's the aubergine looking one on my 6.25-inch wrist. As with a lot of these 38mm Mercure watches, does wear a hair bigger, I'd say, just because it's got such an expansive wide dial. Definitely a tiny bit too big for my arm, I'd say, but a great size for like the average wrist. If your wrist's approaching 7 inches, perhaps, I think this will be bob on. And wears very thin as always too, even with that crystal. I tell you what, if I was ever to sell watches or anything, like become a dealer or something, Mercure would be one of these underrated brands that might be near the top of my list because they've really got some cool stuff going on recently. I would probably personally as well prefer it if more brands just went down the route of including some of the Chinese symbols or whatever you'd call it. I think it just looks more authentic. And one other thing to know with this watch, by the way, is it doesn't appear to have any lume though. And even I can just about get into the strap on this one, which is nice. That's often a problem, even with watches at this size, my tiny arm. But there's a look at it on a strap anyway. Not sure, again, which I'd go for out of the two. I think maybe given the kind of link size debacle, maybe I would go with the strap instead, just for slightly finer adjustments. But both are about the same price. Both have got very nice clean sunbursts for the money though, I have to say, at a quartz rivaling price as well. Yeah, the link below, along with any discounts I can find. Let me know what you think. These have got steel cases, 5 bar water resistance. I really don't think they're bad at all, especially if you want a one and done watch. Really are surprisingly high quality.